So here we are at Norton Park, Widnes, for the final Stone Spitter Championship game of the season for Widnes, and that is against Leigh. Leigh fourth from the bottom, Widnes fourth from the top of the league, and attempting to secure a top four positions for the Premiership playoffs. And the teams for this afternoon for Widnes: number 1, Stuart Spruce; 2, John Devereux; 3, Andy Currier, back in after injury; and 4, Darren Wright. And on the left wing, David Myers. The Widnes halfbacks: 6 is Jonathan Davis; 7, Bobby Golding. And the pack: number 8, first run out of the season for Andy Ireland; number 9 is Paul Hume; 10, Harvey Howard; 11, Sidney Formilo; 12, Steve McCurry; and loose forward is Les Holiday. Widnes substitutes this afternoon are Christian Tyler and Adrian Hadley. And with me is Derek Isley, the Leigh commentator, and I'll hand over to him to announce the Leigh team.
Thank you, Gary. Good afternoon, everyone. And for the final league outing of the season, the Leigh lineup this afternoon at Norton Park is as follows: 1, David Ruane; 2, Simon Booth; 3, Troy Clark; 4, Dean Hanger; 5, Duncan Platt; 6, John Gunning; 7, Jason Donoghue; 8, Lee Hansen; 9, Paul Rowley; 10, Tim Street; 11, Andy Collier; 12, Andy Ruane; and 13, Simon Baldwin. Leigh substitutes are at 14, Mike Blakely; and 15, Scott Martin. The one noticeable absentee in the Leigh lineup is skipper John Pendlebury, out through an injury sustained at Leeds on Thursday. Back to you, Gary.
So the Widnes mascot just having his photograph taken with his favourite player, John Devereux, before the kick-off. And the young fellow now makes his way over to the centre of the pitch, where today's match officials, Colin Steele, and his touch judges, Mr. Jay Price and Mr. Jay Preston, line up for their photos, with the Widnes captain Paul Hume back in after injury, and also the Leigh captain Tim Street. Awful weather conditions here this afternoon. It's still raining, a slight drizzle, very windy. The pitch is quite firm underneath but very slippy on top, and I think perhaps we may see a lot of lost ball early on, although thankfully the weather has eased up a lot better than it was this morning. A big game for Widnes to win. They need to win this one to stay fourth in the league and get home advantage in the Premierships. Sidney Formilo, you can see there, just slipped as he took that first drive of the game in. Formilo came through very well against St Helens in his first outing since injury to his knee, and that was one of the more pleasing aspects of what wasn't a good day for Widnes. A high tackle awarded by Mr. Steele. That was something that Mr. Smith against St Helens came in for some criticism for from the Widnes supporters and the Widnes camp. He did allow Shane Cooper to get away with a few high tackles, and that's encouraging to see that Mr. Steele has clamped down early on in the game. Steve McCurry going for the burst to the blind side on the dummy. Harvey Howard, you can see there, just holding the ball in one hand, but not worth attempting to pass out in these conditions especially. Les Holiday, Widnes back at full strength in the backs. Well, there's been a late change there because David Hume's actually playing at standoff, and not Jonathan Davis, which I didn't notice when the players came out. And that ball taken over the line, a good catch by Dave Ruane. Just a word from you, Derek, about Leigh's form recently. Some excellent results in the past few months.
Yes, their form has picked up since Christmas, since Steve Sims got the team working to a set pattern. They did quite well defensively on the opening 6 there against Widnes. They did have a tough match at Leeds on Thursday, but it is the last match of the season. I'm sure the lads will be looking to go out in a blaze of glory.
Yes, not as important for Leigh in terms of the rest of the season, because obviously there is no further games in this season for Leigh. But as Derek says, it would be nice for them to go out with a win. Shouts of forward there, I must admit. That did look like a forward pass to me, but it's difficult for the officials being so far away from the ball now. Leigh managed to get the ball out, and eventually the kick comes in. Mr. Steele shouts, give him 10. David Myers takes the ball in field. Andy Currier comes in and straightens up, looks for support, but tackled 10 metres short off the halfway line. David Hume feeds Les Holliday. Holliday manages to evade the first tackle, thought about the pass to Paul Hume, but I think Hume would have just been murdered if that ball had been given to him. So Holliday keeps hold. Harvey Howard spins in the tackle, turns the ball inside to Paul Hume. Not much of an advantage gained there by the pass. Bobby Golding kicks, not the best of kicks by Golding, but it bounces off a Leigh player, plays the Widnes attackers onside, and Golding comes in to complete the tackle. Dean Hanger. Paul Rowley at halfback makes some ground himself, and Widnes caught napping there slightly. Jason Donoghue, not the best of balls, but picked up well by Andy Collier. Fourth tackle for Leigh. Possibility of a kick coming in. Well, the Leigh line was stood flat, and that's what made me think they would perhaps kick on the fourth, but Tim Street just takes one further ball in before the kick, and it's a high ball. That's a difficult one. Bobby Golding's underneath it, takes it well. Excellent catch by Golding. Andy Irving straightens up, sign for Widnes from Parkside. The name escaped me there for the second. The ball goes loose, and Andy Irving again picks up. So the game off to something of a scrappy start, and David Hume just gains positional advantage for Widnes. David Owain picks up that ball, and it's David Hume who's there to attempt the tackle, but Owain just knocks him off. I'll just hand over to Derek.
Thanks, Gary. Yes, Leigh didn't do much with the ball in their hands on the first occasion, but they are playing into the strong breeze. Thankfully the rain's eased off at the moment, but Leigh still got this strong breeze to play into. Simon Baldwin on the take there, well wrapped up by Darren Wright. Leigh up to halfway. Rowley hands it on to Hansen. Hansen gets it away to Andy Rowain. Inside to Booth. Booth drops the ball, and Widnes will get head and ball at the scrum.
Not a bad attempted attack there from Leigh, but Simon Booth just couldn't hang on to that. David Myers comes in off the wing and sets up a good ball to Stuart Spruce. Spruce just can't evade the tackle. It was a crucial tackle. But Widnes coming forward now. Currier looking to slip the ball out to David Myers and keep the momentum going. Leigh going back on the heels for the second there, but the ball just flying loose. Possession back to Leigh with Tim Street. David Hume makes the tackle. Hurts his shoulder over the Easter period, but back in action now. It's been a long, hard season for those Widnes players. And Paul Hume penalised for offside, so Leigh get their first penalty of the game. And Andy Llewellyn takes a short one to himself. Widnes had gone back 20 metres. A couple of Widnes players still had the backs to the ball there, expecting the kick, but Leigh making a good decision. Centre field, it would have been difficult to make any substantial ground in this wind. It's blowing across the pitch slightly towards our commentary position here. Lee Hansen takes 3 Widnes players to put him down, and Leigh now with a chance to attack the Widnes line for the first time in the match. Andy Leigh puts the ball out. Jason Donoghue looks for support, but decided nothing to be gained by the pass. Gunning at half-back. Leigh, a kick in. Stuart Spruce got there, and Spruce, I think, has been injured. He bravely went down for that, but 2 Widnes players collided there, Spruce and Devereux, and both have taken a knock. So the Widnes physio goes on to have a look at Stuart Spruce, and he seems to be in some difficulty. Sits up now, thankfully. That was a testing kick there, Derek. Difficult one for Widnes to deal with.
Certainly one that I don't suppose they'd have tried under normal conditions, but with the ground so heavy and the rain back with us and Leigh into the teeth of the gale, the ball just held up and caught the Widnes defenders out. Spruce went for it, couldn't hang on to it. I think it was David Hume who was in front of him and didn't have much option, I don't think, other than to pick the ball up, and was caught offside, of course. So Leigh get their second penalty in a good attacking position, just 10 metres out. But the conditions against Open Rugby, that's for sure. It's going to be doughy down the middle, and points I would think are going to be hard to come by. But it's Lee Hansen, first man in for Leigh. Leigh within 7 metres of that Widnes try line, looking to work a move, rolling out onto Street. Street's well wrapped up. Widnes up quickly to stop that Leigh movement. Leigh almost under the post. Now with Baldwin crashing in. In fact, to beg your pardon, it's now Donoghue. Donoghue tries to take them on again. Safety first with the handling on that occasion. David Rowan now throws a long ball out to Hanger. Oh, it's good intention that. Hanger wasn't stopped in the first instance by Wright, but it's the last tattle. Kick ahead comes in from Baldwin. Spruce recovered, takes it on his own line and takes the tattle from Rowley. Back to you, Garrick.
Well, Stuart Spruce looks still to be in some difficulty. Perhaps a dead leg. Certainly he was holding the top of his thigh and has been limping since that knock. And he's still in difficulty by the post. Colin Tyler is going to come on, I think, and move into the fullback position as Widnes look to drive the ball out with Les Holiday. So that's a blow for Widnes. Stuart Spruce has been one of the most influential players for Widnes this season. I don't think I've actually seen him have a bad game. It's been a great season for him. Fullback for England, Great Britain, set to make an appearance at Wembley, but unfortunately suffered a knock there. And we'll be hoping that that's not too major and he'll be fit for the Premierships, which begin next week. That's an excellent tackle by Andy Irving on the Leigh full-back. Duncan Platt comes in off the left wing, another of Leigh's ex-Widnes contingents. Went to Leigh via Oldham. Prolific goal kicker, and he's scored a few tries himself this season as Duncan. So Tim Streets takes the ball forward again for Leigh. Streets made a number of breaks on this wing. Excellent cover by Bobby Golding, but he just loses the ball. You just see how slippy it is, and again I think, Derek, the conditions taking an influence there.
Yes, once again Leigh resorting to the kick on the outside, and again it's paid dividends for them. But the substitute that we talked about has not been made. Spruce is to continue, gunning in possession for Leigh from that scrum. Leigh just outside the Widnes quarter line. Rowley attacked in half-back. Brings in Donoghue. Onto David Rowan, to Baldwin. Baldwin does well to stay in play there with the assistance of Booth. Bit dangerous trying things down the short side in these conditions. Lee Hansen well brought down by Holiday, but Leigh into the Widnes quarter game. Donoghue now on to Street. Street takes them on, stopped 10 metres out. Good defence by Ireland and Howard. Leigh with the men outside now. Not the best of passes to Anger. Anger puts the kick in again. Troy Clark takes it. Troy Clark scores the try. 12 minutes on the watch. Nothing less than Leigh deserve for the way they've taken the game to Widnes in the last 5 minutes. Troy Clark is the try scorer. 12 minutes gone. It's Widnes 0, Leigh 4.
Yes, again, Leigh using that kick. They've caused 3 times now. The Widnes defence has found it difficult to deal with that kick, and Clark flew onto that little chip over the top, managed to take it on the full and in at the corner for Leigh, so it's an early score on the board for Leigh. The Widnes defence won't be too happy about that, so Andy Currier kicks off for Widnes, taken by Andy Leigh. Another Widnesian. Just Stuart Spruce is going to continue on the field. He still doesn't look too happy, but apparently he's been given a nod that he's okay to stay on. And Colin Tyler has sat back down on the bench. So Leigh again attacking 30 metres out from the Leigh line, and Tim Street already made a few good short bursts in the opening minutes of this game. Dwayne comes in again for the kick. That will be for David Myers to pick up. Myers, I think, will hang on to this one. And he finds a gap there. That's a great burst from Myers. Now, can he go the distance? There's no support for Myers. He takes on the fullback. That looked like, well, almost a high tackle on David Myers. And I think the referee has spotted that, and he's going to shout David Llewellyn over to him. That could have been very dangerous if he'd caught Myers. As Myers looked to step inside with a great burst from David Myers. He just spotted a gap in the Leigh defence. There was no support with him. It took the Widnes players by surprise, I think. And it gives Widnes a chance to pull 2 points back. I think that was a reasonable decision by Mr. Steele. I think Myers just stepping inside, perhaps a reaction by David Llewellyn, and nothing malicious in it, but Mr. Steele just having a word with him, Derek.
Yeah, quite correct, Gary. Nothing, like you said, malicious about it. Ruane did his job. He just managed to check the run and got Troy Clark was able to get back and make the tackle. But it was high. Penalty to Andy Currier. Widnes' first chance of points. They really need to use this wind in the first half. We'll just watch him take this one. And he's successful. So Widnes back in the game. We've had 16 minutes here at Norton Park. It's now a scoreline of Widnes 2 points, Leigh 4.
So a quick reply for Widnes, and the substitution is about to take place. Stuart Spruce finally being pulled off, and Christian Tyler takes the field. I think we'll see Christian Tyler move into the full-back spot. For Milo, not the best of balls by Bobby Golding. For Milo just managed to get there. But again, Widnes managed to break the 20-metre mark off the kick-off, as they tend to, more than other teams, in my opinion, always break that 20-metre mark off the kicks. The ball moved to the blind side with Harvey Howard. Almost managed to fend off the tackle. And the Island now drives in and straightens up for Widnes. Paul Hume straight from half-back, short ball, a good ball and a great ball out by Currier. Sets Devlow away. Devlow can't escape the Leigh cover. There's 2 players down injured. Centre field, 1 from each team. Widnes continue the movement, the ball tipped across field, and Harvey Howard. Well, is it Steve McCulley raced in at the corner following that kick? An excellent try, just Widnes scoring the same way as Leigh did, mounting an attack. John Devlow went racing down the wing. He was held up, but from the continuing movement, David Hume just chipped the ball over the top. and Steve McCurry raced onto it to put Widnes ahead. So a quick turnaround of fortune there, Derek.
Yes, good try, good backing up, great kick from Bobby Goulden. He certainly learned from the Leigh players in this opening 15 minutes, and he's put that kick through to great effect. Leigh were caught on the outside, they're all coming across to cover the kick. Great change of direction by Goulden. We're a little concerned in centre field as Duncan Platt is being carried off for Leigh. Andy Courier looks as though he's fit to continue.
So two very similar scores in the space of 5 or 6 minutes, and it puts Widnes 6-4 ahead. Senior for Milo again takes that drive in. The initial one wasn't easy for Golding to take. Stops it with his feet first. McCurry on the dummy now as Les Holiday comes in with a shimmy. Can't fool the Leigh defence. Tim Street making the tackle. And the island. Hard-working prop forward is this youngster from Parkside. He certainly keen to get involved in this game. Bobby Golding now will put the kick in towards this near touch line. The Widnes players will have to give 10 metres for Simon Booth. Well, it was a short 10 metres. Sometimes wonder why we have the pitch marked out in 10-metre lines, Derek, because the referees don't seem to take much notice of them.
I know both the attacker and the defenders were inside the same 10 on that occasion, Gary, but referee decided that the Leigh man probably was taking his time, but he's allowed to. But it's Leigh in possession now with Rowley from acting half-back. Well taken by Collier. Good tackle coming in by Holiday there, just as Rowley was about to make the pass. Tim Street now gets a great ball out to Gunning. On to Donoghue. Ball is lost in the tackle, all on, says the referee. Howard gets away to Goulding. Goulding on the chase. Finds David Myers. A walk-in try for David Myers. Good support play. It seems as though every time I take this microphone over, Gary, somebody scores. Unfortunately for me on this occasion, it's the home side, but a great try. Leigh had made the break in centre field. The conditions contributed to Donoghue losing the ball in the tackle. Harvey Howard was the first to respond, put Bobby Goulding in the clear, and a superb pass by Goulding round Booth to find Myers on the outside. Great try, Widnes.
Yes, that was excellent. It came from Leigh actually almost split the Widnes defence. David Hume made the tackle and the ball was slipped out, and it was when John Devereux came in to complete that crucial tackle that the ball slipped free. And again, Harvey Howard the first to the act. He slipped the ball out, an excellent ball to put Bobby Golding into a gap. The conversion unsuccessful, 10 points to 4 for Widnes. 23 minutes into this first half, and again the ball kicked off to Bobby Golding, but this time Golding dummies to find Milo. Just varying the play a little bit there, a good piece of thinking by Bobby Golding. Steve McCurry wasn't really moving when he took that ball. Keeps his feet but doesn't make any headway. David Hume dummies, gets for Milo into a gap. For Milo just couldn't get the ball out to Wright, who was in support. Hume, Holiday shouts for Myers to come inside wisely, but the tackle pushes Les Holiday into touch. I think in firm conditions Holiday would have stopped a metre or so infield there, but the tackle just slid him into touch. So Jason Donoghue takes the ball, brings in Simon Booth on the inside. Davy Hume tackles well. Lee Hansen tackled by Darren Wright. Wright having another good tackling stint. That's been one of the unsung heroes for many years at Widnes. His tackling this season has complemented his attack. He's been superb in both aspects of his game. Tim Street brought down centre field, 10 metres inside the Widnes half, but Leigh finding it difficult to move forward at the moment. And again, the kick over the top, and the island did well to challenge for that one, and he just managed to knock the ball back for Bobby Golding. Devereux. Golding brings on Ireland. tackle just short of the halfway line. You may have noticed, I didn't mention, but Andy Collier's actually gone into a wing position, and the ball comes out there to Collier. He just can't hang on to it, he juggles with it. Well, the penalty's gone to Widnes, I think, perhaps with an obstruction. Spot of luck there for Widnes. The tackle almost made on Collier, but Collier didn't hold the ball. Perhaps technically a reasonable decision, Derek, but a spot of bad luck there for Leigh.
Yeah, things just not going Leigh's way at the moment. This time in this game, we've got 14.5 minutes of this half remaining, and then of course Leigh will hopefully be able to use this win to their advantage in the second half. So they're not out of it. They're 6 points down at 10 points to 4, but it's Widnes on the charge once again.
John Devereux comes in. He's moved into the centre position, swap places with Andy Collier since Collier took that knock. For Milo, Bobby Golding sets Harvey Howard away, and Harvey Howard determined not to be put down, but he is eventually. And the Island takes Leigh players to put him down. Bobby Golding's standing to the left of the play the ball. Collier to the right. It goes to Golding. David Hume brings the ball inside. Christian Tyler just took his eye off the ball and couldn't hold on to it. And Widnes lose possession. Waste a good attacking opportunity. So Leigh now look to move forward, and Widnes will hope to at least keep Leigh down in this half of the field and force them to kick. Tim Street, that was good play by Steve McCurry, moved up quickly there with David Hume to cut off Tim Street. And that's what Widnes will be looking for. And there, down right, comes in. David Myers just didn't have enough time to get into his stride there as Simon Booth came in, but another good tackle by Wright forced that ball to go loose, and Milo charges forward now for the Chemics. 15 metres out in front of the Leigh posts. Golding, dummy run around with David Hume. Hume looked for support on both shoulders, but nobody had gone with him. The gap was yawning there for Widnes. Bobby Golding sets the long ball out now. Would do it. Holiday can't get the pass out. It's still out here though. Widnes have got about a 3-man overlap out here. David Myers is pointing to a gap, and while there's a gap just outside Dean Hanger, there was, which is where Myers wanted the ball, but the door's closed now. It's the final tackle. Holiday puts a short kick in, but that's going to go dead. And Leigh survive. There's a Leigh player injured. Perhaps would have expected Widnes to make more of that play, Derek.
Yeah, I think the home supporters will be a little disappointed on that occasion, Gary, but full credit to the Leigh defence. They are aided by the conditions, because it's certainly against open play, and both sides, of course, trying to still swing the ball about. The only dry periods of the ground really down the wings and inside the quarters. The Leigh player is fit to continue, and the Leigh with possession on their own quarter line. Dean Anger takes it, first man in, pushed back by two Widnes forwards, Andy Island and Harvey Howard. Tim Street now taking it up for Leigh, almost through. Good yardage gained again by the standing skipper this afternoon, and now the penalty goes Leigh's way for offside. I think both sides have been lying well up throughout this game, Gary, and the crowd have been screaming a lot for the offsides, and the referee's given one on that occasion.
Yes, I think you're right there. Both sides have been allowed to get away with it, as they have in so many games since this 10-metre decision was brought in, but that time Mr Steele just deciding that enough was enough. Gives Leigh a chance to come on to the attack. Lee Hansen takes that one in. The ball out for Simon Baldwin. As I think Derek said in his opening comments, that Leigh without John Pendlebury today, and that's missing an influential part of the play today, Derek.
I'm not sure that the conditions would have suited John, but certainly his distribution and man management on the team would have come in very handy. There's Leigh swinging the ball out. Scott Martin picks it up. Touch judge indicates the knock on, and we'll scrum it once again over on the far side of the field.
Might argue the ball went backwards, but really, such a simple mistake, it's not even worth arguing about. And it gives Leigh possession again, 20 metres out from the Widnes line, and a chance to again mount an attack. And the ball eventually comes out to Dean Hanger. Tackled by Sinifa Milo as he caught that ball. Lee Hansen knocks off the first attempted tackle by Familo and still manages somehow to get the ball out as he stood in the tackle. Jason Donoghue and Leigh pushing to the Widnes line now. 10 metres out, it's going to take some good defence here by Widnes. Leigh lie deep to this side. Andy Wayne's out waiting in the centres, but the ball switched. Well, Donoghue thought about it, and again the kick over the top, but John Devno makes that one fairly comfortably, and a wasted opportunity there for Leigh. Seemed a bit disorganised as the line lay to this side, and Jason Donoghue, for some reason best known to himself, looked to the left. There was nobody coming there, so he was forced to kick. Andy Ireland, it's a good burst by Ireland. He just altered his angle of attack as he took the ball. Made some good ground for Widnes. David Hume looks to get down right away, and Hume comes down to take the ball back. Thought about passing, but it was never on there. Steve McCurry in excellent form at the moment for Widnes. The ball back to Bobby Golding for the kick on the final tackle. Bounces up. Well, David Wayne nearly made a hash of that one. It's bounced up nicely for him, which he possibly wasn't expecting in these conditions, but that's an excellent chase. Bobby Golding there after his own kick, and Andy Ireland also made it. Scott Martin though makes it a good burst. Inside ball to Hansen. This time he's tackled high and low, but he spells the ball, and Sini Famalo pounces on it. Lee Hansen just attempting to do a bit too much there, I think, on half the Leigh side, offside at that. Play the ball. David Hume takes a quick tap. Suspicion as to whether the Leigh players were still offside. Paul Hume races to get in the acting half-back position. Collier looks to bring Myers inside. Inside switch, and that's a good ball by Les Holiday as Widnes switched it to attack, to play the ball position. Golding, Harvey Howard, good run around with Golding. The ball just knocked down as David Hume came charging in, looking for the gap. But a fortuitous hand of John Gunning just intercepted. So 6 more tackles for Widnes. Bobby Golding. Myers brings Myers in short. Good ball back by David Myers. Golding can't get to the line. He just didn't have the pace to get there. That was an excellent ball by David Myers. Golding, Tyler, in fact, looked to go himself there. They had Les Holiday outside, but he couldn't get the ball out. Widnes have got a deep line, and that's surely, well, I eat my words. I thought the Widnes should have moved it out there, but they again attacked from the play of the ball, and Sini Familo barges over. Perhaps fortunate to score from that one. The line was deep and wide, and there was a couple of man overlap, but Sini Familo caps his comeback to fitness by scoring there to put Widnes 14 points to 4 ahead. So that unconverted score by Sini Familo makes it 14 points to 4 to Widnes. Just seems to have stepped up a gear since going behind. Had a bit of good fortune. Christian Tyler takes that well on the full. And Widnes now, I think, being told to just tie the ball up before half-time, take no chances. 6 tackles and then the kick, I think, is what we'll see. Well, 5 tackles and then the kick, obviously. Holiday comes to the short side. Darren Wright. Simon Booth flew in off the wing to complete that tackle, and he had to. And now Bobby Golding kicks. A great kick by Bobby Golding. Kept it flat, bounced on the 20-metre line into touch. And that's what Widnes are looking for now, just to tackle Leigh now down in this half of the field and keep them tight. Jason Donoghue not happy with something at the scrum. Feeds it, came out the same way, but Mr. Steele allows it to go on. And Donoghue just evades the spurring arms of Steve McCurry. Crunching tackle. There are 3 Widnes players, Hume, Familo and the Island, making that tackle. Tim Street, but didn't seem to have any real power as he hit Les Holiday then. Leigh take the ball again from half-back. Jason Donoghue again makes some forward momentum. In fact, it was Dean Hanger. But now Leigh spin the ball out wide, looking for an overlap at the Widnes line. Shuffle out to that far wing. And the final tackle for Leigh and Widnes, as they would hope to do, have kept them in the Leigh half of the field. Not the best of kicks. Bounces twice before being picked up by Myers. He shows the ball and then gives it to Darren Wright. He's quite a good ball handler, David Myers, as wingers go. Has played in the centre in his time, and also at full-back. And the Island again takes the ball straight, doing a good prop forwards job, and the touch judge on this side rightly comes on. Spotted there, Lee Hansen I think it was, just went over the top with a swinging arm on Andy Island. I'm sure the youngster won't be too put off by that. Certainly got the temperament to handle the big games. 1 minute left in this first half. Harvey Howard comes in, he's going to just drive straight, and Widnes now are just going to do straight attacks on the line. The 2 props are going to be given that job, and the Island goes for the sticks. Bobby Golding perhaps thinking about a drop goal. Les Holiday off Hume, looks for support, the ball back. Well, penalty I think for obstruction there as the ball went back to David Hume. The attack wasted for Widnes. Paul Hume I think just making an obstruction off the ball. As we come into the final stages of this half. Derek, what do you think Steve Sims will be saying to the Leigh boys at half-time?
Well, I don't think they'll be too discouraged with the scoreline, in view of the fact they've got to play with the wind in the second half, but they'll need points early on, but the pitch is churned up and certainly the conditions won't be in their favour. But nevertheless, I would think an early score after the break with this scoreline at half-time, and Leigh will quite fancy the chances. It's Andy Rowan taking it up. Now we're well into injury time. In fact, there goes the hooter as I speak. So a half-time scoreline here at Norton Park in the Stone Spitter Championship First Division fixture. It's Widnes 14 points, Leigh 4. Stay with us for the second half.
Where is it?
Well, Sir Derek Disley, welcome you back to Norton Park for the second half of this Stones Bitter Championship. A reminder of the half-time scoreline being Widnes 14, Leigh 4. The hooter goes after just 12 seconds play, but the referee Colin Steele elects to play on. Leigh on the charge with Andy Collier. Thankfully, most players have changed their shirts during the half-time interval. Donoghue looking for the break, gets it out to Strait. Now to Baldwin, to Clark. Clark forced back inside though. Good defence there from Courier and Holiday. Leigh with Donoghue down at the moment. Strait, one man who's not changed his shirt, takes the drive, takes the tackle as well from Howard. Rowley attacked in half back for Leigh, does the run around with Andy Ruane. Lee Hansen, nobody with him though. They missed Donoghue on that occasion, who's down, injured, receiving treatment. Leigh were looking to capitalise on the use of this wind in this second half, but that one goes straight up in the air. And taken comfortably by Courier, so I'll bring Gary into it now for the second half.
Thanks, Derek. And the ball lost there by Christian Tyler, but it goes backwards, and Mr. Steele signals that and allows play to go on. Steve McCully comes short off David Hume, forces his way forward. Goaling brings on Andy Ireland, and he takes Widnes over the halfway line. Goaling did well to take that pass. It wasn't the best of balls, it went behind him, and Harvey Howard loses possession. So scrappy start to the second half. Possession for Leigh, and immediately look to move the ball out wide. Perhaps been told by Steve Sims just to open up the game and maybe take some chances at 14-4 down. Not a lot to lose. Tim Street comes in, tackled well by Howard, but he still manages to get the ball out. Now the crowd shouts. The Leigh player, I think, in fairness to Andy Courier, Scott Martin was falling to the ground when Courier hit him and made it look worse than it was. Away in a good straight run by Gunning, and a good support, an excellent slip ball out, and another one unfortunately for Leigh that time. It goes straight to Sidney from Marlow. He keeps the ball alive. John Deverill, Widnes, 3 passes there, didn't make any ground. Paul Hume left in no man's land on his own, flicks the ball out to Christian Tyler, coming in a lot from the full back spot to get involved in the Widnes attacks. Widnes spin it now to the left. Good ball, Dylan Wright found a gap there. Wright's going, he's got support on the outside, he kicks ahead for David Myers, and Myers picks up an excellent try. Superb score for Widnes. Came from nothing really, that Widnes just moved it out to the left. A superb ball out, sent Dylan Wright into a gap. He spotted it and he went head down, charging through. Couldn't really get the ball out to Myers because Myers' winger was still marking him, so he just kicked ahead, relying on the speed of David Myers. And Myers goes in for his 13th of the season, his second of this game, and a tremendous try-scoring stint from him since he picked those 2 up in the semi-final against Leeds. He really has shown what he's made of.
Taken by Goulding, hands it on to Fine Marlow. Again, Fine Marlow clears the quarter line before he's attempted to be tackled. So it's Widnes now with Howard on the charge, runs into Gunning. Leigh stop him 12 metres or so short of halfway. Back to you, Gary.
Thanks, Derek. And the island comes on and not... Well, that was an awful ball by Paul Hume there. And Paul Hume shows his displeasure at himself there. It was down by the knees of Andy Ireland. Didn't have any chance. So possession back to Leigh. And again, Leigh come to this near side and bring Dave Ruane in early on in the move. But he couldn't make any ground. The Widnes defence is good at the moment. Andy Collier forcing himself forward. Ruane's coming out for the dummy, the ball to Tim Street. Shouts for the forward pass, but Mr. Steele has none of it. And the penalty, there's the Widnes players turned over Tim Street. It wasn't exactly a spear tackle, but spear tackles are banned by the Rugby League, and rightly so, because can have dangerous consequences. So a chance for Leigh to attack. John Gunning will put this one into touch to make some short amounts of ground before the tap. And we hand over to Derek.
Thanks, Gary. Really, Leigh need a score from this situation to get themselves back into this game. Good first drive from Lee Hanson. Ball roller behind the play, the ball to Donoghue, onto Street. Street will take them on all day. He'll run all day. Great charge from Street. Leigh supporters to our left, trying to get behind their side, trying to raise their game. Handed away now. Good tackle coming in from Holiday and Tyra. Leigh within 5 metres now. They need the points. Donoghue dodges under the tackle, and Leigh have got what they wanted. Referee Colin Steele, Australian style, looks round to consult both his touch judges before giving the try. Leigh had to get points from that situation. It shows that they've certainly not given this game up by any stretch of the imagination. They're back once again to within 10 points with the kick to come. So Widnes 18 points, Leigh 8.
Well, I knew I shouldn't have handed that microphone back to Derek, because another score comes in, and this time it's for Leigh. Jason Donoghue just a little dummy and ducked under the tackle and caught the Widnes defence flat-footed. And Troy Clark is the kicker in the absence of the injured Duncan Platt. And well, it puts Leigh back in the game. If he can kick this one, it'll be just 8 points behind. Still a long way to go in this game. Widnes will be anxious not to concede another score, because that will concede them their top 4 spot. And Clark smacks that one over. No danger of missing that. 18 points to 10 now.
And that is Troy Clark's first goal for the Leigh club since joining them back in February. He did, of course, kick goals earlier in the season when he was at Carlisle. But it's the first opportunity he's had to kick for the Leigh club, and a 100% record. I hope he can keep it up, Gary.
Yes, well, it's a good start for him anyway, and I'm sure that Widnes will be determined not to give him another chance to make it 2 out of 2. As Leigh come forward again, but that ball bobbled and bobbled a few times. John Devereux. Well, Derek just making a point there that Widnes actually got a penalty for a similar situation when Andy Collier didn't have control of the ball and was tackled, but Widnes allowed to play on this occasion. That's a point for debate, and I'm sure that supporters of both sides will talk about that. But it's given Widnes a chance to push forward. Goaling dummies the run down to McCurry, and then, well, an awful pass by Bobby Goaling there. Bad pass by him. Straight to the ground it went. That's a better ball out. David Hume brings for Milo into the line behind Andy Collier. The final tackle for Widnes, though. They've got the 2 wingers overloading this short side, but Goaling chips over the top. Was he impeded? The penalty has been given to Widnes against Paul Rowley, and I think, well, it's always debatable on those occasions which way the penalty should go.
Well, I thought it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The Leigh player seemed to turn his back on Goulden as he put the kick in, but referee was on the spot. We talked about the one earlier with the Andy Collier incident, whether he was tattled without being in possession. Two incidents in the space of 60 seconds, both going Widnes' way, but the referee Steele is the man in the middle. We take his word for everything. Don't always agree with it, we have to take his word for it. And Christian Tyler with the easiest of penalties in front of the lead posts.
Yes, Tyler should convert this one to make it 20-10. But again, a touch of fortune perhaps for Widnes. Christian Tyler again takes his time, nothing accepted as a formality in these games, but he hits that one over. 20 points to 10 for Widnes. So Leigh start. Steve McCurry this time comes in as Leigh kicked the ball to that far side of the field. For Milo, a big hit though by Tim Street. I think Senny for Milo certainly knows that Tim Street's on the pitch now. Gets back to his feet. None the worse for wear. Harvey Howard powers forward. 4 Leigh players hanging onto his coat sleeves. And the island has Widnes look for the halfway line. Paul Hume takes the ball himself to the blind side. Just puts his head down and charges forward. The final tackle for Widnes. The Widnes players complaining that Hume being held down in the tackle. And the penalty, well, Paul Hume just, I suppose it was a kick, it was more of a tap with his foot, totally pointless from Paul Hume. It's given a penalty away on the final tackle for Widnes, and they've just given the ball back to Leigh and given them 40 metres to boot as well.
Well, an amazing decision. What a way for a skipper to react, kicking a player when he's down. Not only that, Widnes had possession, so they needlessly conceded the possession, give Leigh an attack of at the other end of the field. So Leigh 25 metres out, withdraw it onto Collier. Collier tries to crash through, held up though by Harvey Howard. Onto Tim Street now. Street will run all day. Is that high by Holiday? No, says the referee. Leigh 15 metres out now. Hanger goes from acting half-back, but brilliantly taken under pressure by Christian Tyler. But in the end, the referee, on the intervention of the touch judge on the far side, calls him back for the knock-on. Leigh will get head and ball at the scrum 10 metres out. Do you want to take this back, Gary, or do you want to take a chance and let me see another Leigh trying?
I'll just say it was a superb cover by Christian Tyler there. Difficult for us to comment. I think the crowd shouted and the referee looked at the touch judge for that. But he certainly saved the try there. But Leigh back in possession. The ball with Paul Rowley. And another penalty given away. The Leigh players pointing at something, and Paul Hume and Harvey Howard being spoken to by Mr. Steele, but Widnes really can't afford to go on giving these penalties away. Leigh decide not to kick for touch but to move the ball instead, and Tim Street was holding that in one hand. Collier, the Widnes line slow to move up. Leigh with a wide line out to the far side, but they move it to the short side. Donahue just couldn't get the ball out. David Hume slows him up. While Hume, another piece of indiscipline there. David Hume is one of his skills is to slow down the action at the play of the ball, but really a needless punch by Jason Donahue, and well, he could be facing a long walk to the bath for that.
Well, I hope not after what's gone before. All this was sparked off by the kick from the Widnes skipper Paul Hume, and the needless penalty conceded by Harvey Howard. Now Leigh have conceded a needless penalty, but Jason Donahue, whilst not pleading his innocence, at least pleading it was retaliation. Mr. Steele will have none. One of the best right hooks of the season, I would have thought that, as clear as could be. I think anybody who missed that one must have been blind, Gary.
It certainly was a good right hook. It gives the penalty to Widnes, and I don't think I think David Hume would be the last to argue that he wasn't slowing up to play the ball. That's one of his jobs. But silly play by Donahue to retaliate and throw away possession. Gives the ball back to Widnes. Harvey Howard, powerful play by Howard. That is excellent. Forward bursting by the Widnes prop forward. Sheer determination. Short ball off Holiday sends for Milo over the halfway line. And this game is certainly hotting up now. Les Holiday looks for support, and there comes Bobby Goring short. Almost left it too late, but he managed to get there. Hume out to David Hume. Decision was a good one by Hume not to pass the ball. It's the final tackle. Bobby Golding again kicks flat, and Myers is chasing that one. Couldn't get there before his opposite winger. Simon Booth picks the ball up well off his feet, but Leigh down deep inside that 20-metre zone. And I think it's safe now to hand back to Derek.
Thanks a lot, Gary. Give me a lot to do on this occasion. Leigh on their own quarter line. Troy Clark comfortably tackled there by Steve McCurry. No way away from acting half-back for Rowley. Leigh needed to work quicker than that. Donahue again on the break. Great covering tackle again from McCurry. Gunning with the kick, but hardly bounced much in these conditions. Tyra no problem taking that one inside his own quarter, so I think it's safe to hand back to you, Gary.
Tyler threw the ball out. He wasn't tackled. He wasn't fully on the floor. His knees were, but he was still managing to stay upright, and he slipped the ball out. Mr. Steele obviously hadn't shouted held. John Dev, though, and Widnes again on the second tackle at the halfway line. Golding feeds Holiday. Holiday misses out. David Hume in support. Myers knocks off the first tackle and the second, just showing his sheer power there, David Myers. And Harvey Howard again goes forward, gets the ball out. Courier can't hold on to it. Courier was just looking for the gap. It's perhaps a 50-50 chance, but had it come off, Courier could have been away. Both sides, Derek, seems to be giving the ball a bit more early in the second half, and certainly a lot more passing movements taking place than in the first half. Another high tackle judged against Harvey Howard. He pleads his innocence, but the penalty will stand nevertheless. And Harvey Howard again being spoken to by Mr. Steele. He just explains to Paul Hume what he wants to do. The Widnes now have got to keep the discipline. Just noticing off the ball, John Dev, though, he's got a bandage on his knee. He was just holding his knee there. I don't know whether perhaps just the bandage is too tight. He just took it down. But Leigh in possession, attacking the Widnes line.
This is with Tim Street, 30 metres out. It's good defence again there by Marlow on this occasion, trying to get his own back for that tattle by Street a few moments ago. No way through for Rowley. Again, screams from the crowd of high tattle. Leigh 25 metres out with Street. On to Donahue. Donahue slips in the end, as does centre Dean Anger. Gunning tries to skip out of the tackle. Well wrapped up though on this occasion by David Hume. High one from Mandy Rawain, that should be a tester. It's taken by Tyra, but not behind his own line. Can Leigh make the stop? They can. And it's now Widnes back in possession, right under their own post.
Superb catch by Tyler, and not only that, but managed to clear his line as well. David Myers just makes some ground. Devon Wright came late in support. Myers thought about the pass. He was held down in the tackle. And the penalty given. John Gunning's in some difficulty down there, holding the top of his arm. So Widnes 20 metres inside their own half. And the island still coming up to take the ball, still going forward. Now Widnes again give the ball somewhere, moving it out wide. Holiday. The Leigh line had moved up quickly and cut off the pass to the outside. Dean Hanger was almost on top of Devon Wright. Hume manages to get the ball out to Paul Hume. Paul Hume just puts his head down, makes some ground. Good play by Paul Hume. Goaling, long ball out. Currier. Now what can Andy Currier do? Centre field. Goes back to the left. Throws the ball. It goes loose. Goes backwards. David Hume can't pick it up and Leigh get possession. The ball scrappy. It was kicked back by a Widnes player. The touch judge on that far side spots something there. Not exactly sure what went on there. Widnes are going to make a substitution. Widnes, well, the number 4 board is being held up as Leigh come forward, again attacking the Widnes line. The dummy to Street, almost. Well, Leigh still with a chance to take the ball. Well, that was bad organisation. There was nobody out on that side. Leigh now with a chance to move it to this near side. Tim Street and David Hume exchange words at the play of the ball. Well, and David Wayne, crucial tackle. He's still been allowed to get the ball out though. Does Donahue put the ball down? The crowd thinks he does. The referee thinks he doesn't. There's players down all over the place. A long ball out would do it. It must have been a forward pass. Well, the try is being given. A long ball out. Couldn't quite see who took that one. Troy Clark took it on the dive and just held it to go over the line. There were players down all over the place, but that came as Simon Baldwin somehow managed to slip the ball out to David Wayne. Wayne then was held up, but he got the ball out to Jason Donahue, who was tackled on the line. But then all it needed, the Widnes cover had been drawn in. You could have put a blanket over the Widnes players, and the ball, just a long ball out for Clark, and the game is wide open again, Derek.
Certainly is, Gary. Very astute kick that coming in from John Gunning. Very reminiscent of Widnes' opening try in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup. But Leigh had so many men on this outside. Like Gary made the point, the Widnes defence had all been sucked in. You could have thrown a blanket over them. Leigh are back in this one, and if Clark can put this one over and convert his own try, anything can happen here at Norton Park in these remaining 16 minutes. 20 points to 14 at the moment. Clark with his second attempt of the game. He was successful with the first one. And he's successful with the second one. We've got a game on our hands now, Gary. It's Widnes 20 points, Leigh 16.
Widnes have made a substitution. Devon Wright's gone off, suffering with a slight knock, and Adrian Hadley has come onto the left wing. So we'll see Currier and John Devereux in the centre positions. Well, that ball bounced off Andy Ireland and went back to a Leigh player, so that's back to 1. And Widnes just, well, at one stage in this game seemed to step up a gear, but they seem to have eased off again and let Leigh right back into the game. Tim Street really determined to give a boost for the fans in the final match of the season. And it has to be said, Derek, that the fans have shown tremendous loyalty to the Leigh side this season.
They certainly have, Gary, and they're out in numbers again here this afternoon, despite the conditions, and most of these people were at Leeds on Thursday as well. Now Howard taken his life in his hands, I think, on that occasion. He's warned twice for eye tackles, and now he's penalised again. Widnes certainly seem to be suffering from a lack of discipline at the moment. It's Leigh that's keeping the cool. They know time's on their side, and they know 6 points could give them the match.
Well, I must admit that I am mystified as anyone else by the lack of discipline by some Widnes players, and not only that, I mean, there's been nothing that anywhere near deserved a sending off, but if things did get out of hand and the Widnes player was sent off, he could certainly be facing missing an appearance at Wembley, and I just can't understand it. But it certainly gave Leigh a chance to fire their way back into this game, as they are now in possession 20 metres out from the Widnes line. Simon Baldwin is out on this side shouting for the ball, but it's Tim Street who finally gets it and drives forward, and I think Leigh, Derek, now sensing that they can perhaps snatch something here.
Certainly, I said they wouldn't lie down and give the game up. They've certainly not given this one up by any stretch of the imagination. There were 6 more. Scott Martin on the charge, 6 more tackles for Leigh, 5 metres out, 4 points the difference. Leigh supporters behind the post to our left, going wild at the moment. Troy Clark on the charge now. 4 Widnes defenders smother him. What a golden opportunity this is for Leigh. Street takes it. Again, it takes 4 men to hold the Leigh forward up. Leigh have really sucked the cover in again. They need to move it pretty quickly. Not a knock-on, says the referee. Home supporters thought Donahue had nudged that one forward. Gunning now. An inside ball to Hanger. Great defence coming in from Devereux. Last one indicates the referee. Can Leigh conjure anything up? Well, Hanger comes up with that one. Kicks ahead. He's flattened. The ball goes dead. Relief for Widnes. The defence held on that occasion, Gary.
Yes, and the Widnes there just showing some determination, which has been lacking in the last couple of minutes, but they had to tackle there, they had to defend, and the defence was stout. That unusual kick, to say the least, by Andy Duane nearly paid dividends as it went straight to the hands of a Leigh player and almost found an overlap on the outside, but the kick going dead takes the pressure off Widnes. Milo gets the ball out to Myers. He's got to come infield, he doesn't. Well, that was a basic mistake. Not the best of balls by Senny Milo. David Myers really didn't have a chance to come inside, and it gives possession back to Leigh on the second tackle. Gunning is looking for the gap in that defence. His opposite number, David Hume, doesn't miss the tackle. Steve McCurry's in there as well. Things certainly tense and tight, and it's one of the things since the introduction of the Premiership. Before that, this game would just be an end-of-season match with nothing at stake. But now Widnes have got something to play for. Well, the touch judge said play on it. I was expecting either a penalty for pinching the ball or a knock-on, but neither was given. And it's not been waved back to one either, so difficult to see how that ball came loose. Andy Duane dummies inside, but Harvey Howard tackles him, assisted by Paul Hume. Dave Duane puts the kick in over the top. Christian Tyler's got to get that, and he does, takes it safely, and then straightens up. Hadley is coming off the wing to take this. Gets the ball to Devereux. Devereux now looks to break Widnes free from the 20-metre zone, and he does, and he's left a Leigh player lying in his wake. After the tremendous handoff, there's a Leigh player down, and Tim Street didn't like the handoff either. Just had a bit of a niggle with Devereux, and too much indiscipline sneaking into this game. Myers takes that himself. Jinks falls eventually to the ground. Offside, yeah, well, debatable. Paul Rowley penalised for not being square at the play of the ball. There's a Leigh player down off the pitch. Christian Tyler puts the ball in touch for the penalty. Ireland, the good drive, he almost burst through there. Sending for Milo, steps inside, evades the tackle and pushes forward, and now it's Widnes' turn to come forward with a wave of attacks. Golding, long ball out to Holiday. Holiday, short ball. Look how he steps away from the first tackle. Held the ball up, looking to get the pass out, but it just went dead. That's tremendous flying tackle by John Devereux. But there's certainly plenty of excitement to talk about.
Well, it's end-to-end stuff. You wouldn't have backed 2 minutes ago against this Leigh side pulling this one round, but Widnes have shown their true character by coming back. But now Leigh with the ball inside their own quarter line, playing the game in the wrong area of the field at the moment. Slipped there by Gunning, puts them under unnecessary pressure. 2 men marking the play of the ball. Referee's been consistent on that one all afternoon, Gary. This time's a penalty to Leigh.
Yes, you can't argue against that. He's just penalised Leigh for a very similar offence. And now it's Widnes' turn to give the penalty away. And it's, well, Andy Wayne comes close to touch. David Myers thought about pulling him in, changed his mind, so Leigh keep possession. Lee Hansen can't get the ball out, covered up well by Paul Hume. Tim Street, he's worked non-stop this afternoon for Leigh. Paul Hume stayed down after that tackle, but he gets back to his feet now. Tim Street gets the ball, and things just sticking for Leigh at the moment. 2 dodgy passes, but they both went to hand. Dave Llewellyn's at half-back, and Leigh again surging forward. Clark, tackled well by Andy Curry. It had to be a good tackle. Martin, Llewellyn again just puts a casual kick over the top. Widnes at 6s and 7s. There was at least 2 knock-ons there that I saw, one by each side, and the touch judge, I think, just sitting on the fence there. The tannoy quite often does announce for people not to sit on the fence at these games, but the touch judge obviously hasn't heard that, because he certainly sat on the fence. I'm not complaining, because I think Christian Tyler committed the first knock-on, and it's given Widnes chance to come away. And again, push for the halfway line, but this game certainly going backwards and forwards at the moment. 6 minutes left for Widnes to hang on. Bobby Golding puts the kick in, he's looking for touch, but I don't think it'll get there. It bounces awkwardly, but picked up by Simon Booth. And Leigh are waiting to make a substitution. Lee Hansen's going to come off, I think, and Michael Blakely will come on. But that, of course, needs a stoppage in play. That ball out from Dave Llewellyn, Adrian Hadley flew in for the interception, but it's just left. Well, it's 2 against 1 now, and there's no danger there. The man was drawn. It's a try. Leigh have gone the full length of the pitch. Well, I must admit, I didn't think they were capable of it. But that ball out, Adrian Hadley flew in there looking for the intercept, but it left Leigh with a 2 against 1 situation. And Christian Tyler really there had no chance whatsoever. 20 points to each, and I think that Clark will put this kick over. So Leigh, with 5 minutes to go, have possibly pinched this one.
5 minutes is a long time in this game, Gary, and the kick's not gone over yet. But what a comeback. They trail by 18 points to 4, 4 minutes into this second half. They've stuck to their task well. They've stuck to the game plan, and eventually they've just been too good for Widnes in the end. They've certainly been the better side in the last quarter of the match. And now the Leigh crowd will quieten to our left to give Clark all the time in the world to try and put this one over safely. 4.5 minutes remain here at Norton Park. Scores tied up at 20 points each. Victory would be sweet for Leigh. One thing they wanted to do was to finish outside of the bottom 2. Then no one can say they were saved from relegation by a vote. So 2 from 2 so far for Troy Clark. The crowd told you long before the kick got there. 4 minutes remain at Norton Park. What a comeback by Leigh. So scoreline now of Widnes 20 points, Leigh 22.
Well, yes, this is definitely cause for concern for Widnes. They've thrown this game away. They had a 10-point lead at one stage just after half-time. But Leigh have just, all credit to them, they've got their heads down and got on with the job. And they've been allowed back into this game. And that is going to condemn Widnes to at least 4th. Yeah, a draw. They could have finished 3rd with a draw if Bradford hadn't won. But Widnes now could end up playing away from home. And the Widnes crowd stunned into silence. The Leigh supporters singing the praises of their team. And why not? Leigh in possession, still coming forward. The final tackle, and really Widnes now need a miracle or a piece of individual sparkle off somebody. A high kick. There's 2 Widnes players there. Christian Tyler takes it. Hadley. John Devlow, now can he find any ground for Widnes? David Hume, Collier gets the ball out to Myers. Myers has got support inside, David Hume's inside, he goes himself, he just can't knock off the tackle, he manages to avoid going into touch, and he keeps the ball alive to Bobby Golding. Collier, it slips behind him, Tyler's got to get there. Harvey Howard puts his head down, he's going for the line. Not the best of passes, superb pick-up by Hadley. Widnes keep the ball alive, Bobby Golding. Well, a tremendous spell of attack there. Widnes unlucky with 1 or 2 passes. Can't afford to panic now though. Devs comes inside, the final tackle. Collier puts his head down, he's going for the line, and he's scored! Well, that's the piece of individual brilliance and the miracle that I was talking about. Widnes there just showing what they've been capable of for the whole of the match. Andy Collier, just sheer determination, but that came after them. An unbelievable, really upfield break. Several players involved there. Tyler, David Myers, I don't think can believe it off camera, shaking his head in disbelief. He was involved in that move. Harvey Howard, tremendous burst forward by him, and then on the last tackle, Collier, you could see the determination. He knew what he wanted to do, and he scored under the sticks, and that's well, what can you say? That's unbelievable.
Well, I'm totally devastated by that. They didn't look anything on when Myers made the initial break down this near touchline. In fact, I was surprised when he even got up to pass the ball out. There looked 1 or 2 desperate passes from Widnes, but they all came off, they all stuck to hand, and Leigh can really feel that they've been killed off at the death here. It's been a tremendous performance by the visitors to come back. We've got to give credit to Widnes. They refused to throw the towel in. They've come back and scored a try the length of the field. It was a team effort. Andy Courier gets the 4 points. Christian Tyner will no doubt make it 6. But full credit to Widnes for sticking to the task in hand, Gary.
So Tyler looks to slot this one over, and he does. 26 points to 22 for Widnes. An amazing turn of events. And Phil Larder, that's an amazing turn of events in the last 5 or 6 minutes.
We've played some dumb football in the second half. I think the enthusiasm's been there, but it's been totally misdirected. I'm going to have a look at the video very closely, because we've left in some very soppy tries just through from what looks from up here to be individual error. But we showed great fight back to score that try.
Well, has just interrupted Phil Larder because Leigh, the game isn't over yet, and Leigh have found another gap in the Widnes defence, and there could be space on the outside. Martin barges forward, and anything could happen. We've just seen that, the kick through, a Widnes player got to get there first. Well, that's unbelievable, because the try has been awarded to Leigh, and now Leigh are celebrating. That is just, well, I'm speechless. The breakthrough, I think, came from Jason Donegal. I was actually talking to Phil Larder at the time, and the gap appeared in the Widnes defence. Widnes seems to have it covered, but that kick through the colour couldn't get there. The Widnes player was chasing onto the ball, but a Leigh player got there first. I'm not sure if it was Andy Collier, but I'm totally amazed.
Well, from being devastated 20 seconds ago to be totally elated from a Leigh point of view, the way this game has to and fro, it would, in my opinion, be unfortunate for either side to lose. But great thinking from Leigh from the kick-off. Dean Anger was the man who poised and pounced on that short kick-off from John Gunning, and Leigh capitalised on it in the end. The kick was in, Widnes were caught man watching, and it's down to Troy Clark again. We thought he kicked the winner some 5 minutes ago. He's got to do it all over again, Gary.
Well, that is actually in extra time on our watch up here. 2 minutes overtime being played. Clark, well, he's kicked 3 from 3 so far. I can't see him missing this one, but the way this game has gone, anything could happen. But Leigh look again to have pinched the points, and it's there. 28 points to 26. That one sails over, and there is the final hooter. Well, that's just devastation for Widnes. Determination and some slick passing sent them all the way up the field, and they seem to have pinched the death when Andy Collier forced his way over, but he's just relaxing a bit too soon. There was no time left on the clock when, I think Andy Collier it was who scored the final one for Leigh. Tremendous excitement here. A game of rugby league. It was superb. Certainly had all the ingredients in awful conditions, Derek. Credit to both sides. It seesawed one way and another. We've certainly enjoyed it, but in the end, Widnes go home disappointed.
Certainly do, Gary, and I would tell you, all these people on this field, there must be 90% of them from Leigh. They're so elated at that. They know that they've got a well-earned victory this afternoon. It's been hard work, but like you said, we thought in the first half the conditions would get the better of teams as the field cut up and the going got heavier. But both sides have thrown the ball about with gay abandon. When you get 3 tries in the remaining 5 minutes, that's tremendous play from both sides. Fitness of the highest order to both sides. I'm actually disappointed for Widnes, Gary, that they've lost this one. I'm highly delighted for Leigh that they've won it, but with a final scoreline of Widnes 26 points, Leigh 28. Any more words from you, Gary?